Welcome to Breaking the Silence, Chester County. I am Amelia Rayburn-Pazika, and I'm back today with our monthly episode of Same Song, Different Tune. As always, listener discretion is advised, as we will be discussing potentially re-traumatizing topics related to domestic violence today. Abuse is like a jazz standard, familiar yet constantly shifting. Each abuser interprets it differently, creating new variations of the same underlying melody of power and control. Sometimes you don't even recognize it until it's been playing for a while. In this special monthly episode, we listen to various musicians' takes on one jazz standard while discussing a different form of abuse and the unique ways it can manifest in different relationships. With Valentine's Day just around the corner, I decided to choose My Funny Valentine for our song today. Written in 1937 by Richard Rodgers and Lorenz Hart for the Broadway musical Babes in Arms, this song was originally performed as a tender, slightly teasing love song in the context of a story about teenagers trying to take control of their own lives, which thematically aligns with February's Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. Let's start today with Chet Baker's take on My Funny Valentine.
My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable, yet you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? But don't change your hair for me, not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine, stay. Each day is Valentine's Day.
You are listening to Breaking the Silence, Chester County, same song, different tune on WCHE, and that was Chet Baker's version of My Funny Valentine. I am Amelia Rayburn-Pazika, the Chief Education Director at the Domestic Violence Center of Chester County, and today we'll be exploring the issue of financial abuse, a form of control that occurs in 99% of abusive relationships, yet is often overlooked. According to PCADV, 78% of Americans don't recognize this as a form of domestic violence. I always reiterate in this show that domestic violence is based around power and control, and power over your finances is significant. Financial abuse is the number one reason survivors stay in or return to abusive relationships. By controlling your access to money and resources, your abuser isn't just limiting the budget, they're limiting your freedom, safety, and choice. Financial abuse and control over your money can be manipulative. At first, it might feel like help. I know you're under a lot of stress right now. Why don't you just let me take care of the bills? Someone else is handling the finances, the passwords, the utilities. It can be a relief. It can feel like care. They make it sound like they're protecting you and the household. Some abusers may begin by giving their partner a weekly allowance, something that works within the budget. But slowly the allowance shrinks, or you notice that requests for money are questioned or delayed. Suddenly you can't pay for basic things without asking permission. You don't have access to the bank accounts, passwords are private, joint assets are hidden. Utilities like your phone or internet might be in their name, and if you want access, you have to ask for it. Even larger things begin to feel like dependence. The car's not in your name, nor is the house. But all of this can be framed as support rather than control. Sometimes you might even see this self-sacrificial narrative arc play out. Why do I work so hard to make the money? So you can have the freedom to not work and do what you want to. On the surface, it sounds romantic, noble, even generous. But listen closely. That freedom is an illusion. You're not free. You're dependent. And the person claiming to be sacrificing for your benefit, they're orchestrating the entire song. Every note, the bills, the money, the access, it's all on their terms. Now for Lucia Micarelli's string version of My Funny Valentine. Welcome back to Breaking the Silence, Chester County, same song, different tune on WCHE. Today we are discussing financial abuse, the tactics and impact of this extremely common form of power and control. Another way financial abuse may show up is through attempts to control someone's ability to work, to advance their career, or even access education. As I mentioned before, some abusers will discourage their partner from working outside of the home, insisting it's for the family, for the children, or because I can provide for you. On the surface, it might sound selfless. I work so hard so you can focus on the home, the kids, on yourself. But look closer. That selflessness is a tool of control. Other times, abusers might sabotage your work opportunities. No one's saying you're not allowed to work, but instead, everything about working becomes almost impossible. It could start with transportation or childcare. That car that's ours, suddenly it isn't available the morning you have work. The keys went missing. You're told you must have moved them. Or the gas tank is empty, even though you swear you just filled it up. I've got the kids, don't worry, turns into, something came up. 10 minutes before you need to leave, leaving you to scramble, having to miss a shift or show up to work late and flustered. And there's the emotional sabotage. Feeling flustered, stressed, emotionally drained, that is one of the most damaging tools of financial abuse. It might happen before a shift at work, or right before a big important meeting, or a presentation, an interview. A fight appears out of nowhere. Accusations, criticism, rage, tears. You leave the house shaken, dysregulated, heart pounding, and then expected to walk into a professional space and perform as if nothing happened. They might even resort to stalking or harassing you at work, calling you incessantly while you're working, or showing up there uninvited, even becoming jealous of or threatening toward coworkers. Some abusers may even discourage your furthering your education or your professional development. They might put down your abilities, insisting you're too stressed, too unprepared for a promotion or a degree. You wouldn't be able to handle a master's program right now, they might say, as if protecting you from failure. But really it's about keeping you dependent and under their control. And every step you try to take toward independence will be met with doubt, guilt, or obstruction, keeping you tethered to their financial control. Now here is my personal favorite jazz artist's take on today's song. This is Ella Fitzgerald with My Funny Valentine.
Behold the way our fine feathered friend his virtue doth parade. Thou knowest not, my dim-witted friend, the picture thou hast made. Thy vacant brow and thy tousled hair
Welcome back to Breaking the Silence, Chester County. Same song, different tune on WCHE. I am Amelia Rayburn Pazika, and today we are discussing financial abuse and the ways that it can manifest in a relationship. Another way financial abuse may show up is through exploitation, using someone's own resources to keep them dependent and financially limited. It often starts with things that might seem normal, even reasonable. Maybe you're asked to co-sign a loan. Maybe you're told a credit card needs a second name on it, just in case. It's framed as partnership, shared responsibility, trust. Co-signing doesn't feel like control. It feels like being included. But debt can become one of the most effective tools an abuser may use. They might run up balances on joint credit cards, hide how much money is actually owed. Bills will pile up quietly, balances grow without any explanation, and suddenly leaving the relationship isn't just emotionally impossible, it could be financially catastrophic. Sometimes this damage is caused intentionally. The bills are unpaid on purpose. The rent, utilities, or loans are ignored, not because the money isn't there, but because ruining your credit score limits your future options. Bad credit makes it harder for you to rent an apartment, buy a car, even get a job, and it keeps independence just out of reach. Assets can be manipulated at the same time. Savings, property, investments might be kept entirely in the abuser's name, while the survivor is responsible for rent, utilities, groceries, and the household debt. On paper, it might look shared, but in reality, the survivor is carrying the weight of the debt without having any financial assets. Some assets can be hidden altogether, which can become even more obvious during a separation or a divorce, when assets suddenly can't be located or paperwork's missing, and the legal process is intentionally dragged out by refusing to disclose financial information. That delay itself can be a tactic designed to exhaust the survivor both emotionally and financially. This kind of financial abuse doesn't just trap someone in the relationship. It limits their options long after they try to leave. It shrinks their future. It makes safety seem unaffordable, and it keeps the survivor asking themselves a devastating question. How could I survive on my own with all of this hanging over me? You're listening to Breaking the Silence, Chester County. Same song, different tune on WCHE. Here is the Miles Davis Quintet and their take on My Funny Valentine. Welcome back. I am Amelia Rayburn Pazika, and I am your host for today's Breaking the Silence, Chester County, here on WCHE. Financial abuse can make independence feel out of reach, but there are ways that survivors can protect themselves and take control of their finances step by step. The first step is knowledge, knowing what you own, what accounts exist, what debts are in your name. This gives you power. Gather your bank statements, loan documents, proof of ownership for property or vehicles. It might feel small, but it builds a foundation of control. Creating independent access is essential. A personal bank account or a small cash reserve that only you can reach can make a critical difference. If keeping funds at home isn't safe, a trusted friend or family member can help hold money or important documents for you. Use two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and account alerts to add another layer of protection. Copies of important financial documents, deeds, insurance policies, tax filings, bank statements, they should be stored somewhere secure. These records provide proof of ownership if history disputes arise or financial abuse is discovered. Even smaller actions matter. Keeping track of your payments, creating personal budgets, separating shared accounts, or just checking your credit report regularly can build a sense of control. These steps, again, are not about fixing everything all at once. It's about gaining stability and gaining access so you can make choices without feeling trapped by someone else's control. And support networks can be key. Friends, family, advocates can help you with supporting with money, documenting abuse, or navigating different financial systems. Programs like the All-State Foundation Moving Ahead curriculum, that's something that DVCCC runs with our survivors, can teach survivors how to rebuild their credit, manage their debt, and regain financial independence. You are listening to Breaking the Silence, Chester County, and here is another instrumental version of My Funny Valentine. This is Till Bronner on WCHE. Welcome back to Breaking the Silence, Chester County. This is Amelia Rayburn Pazika, and you were listening to Same Song, Different Tune. As always, I want to thank our friends here at WCHE for helping us break the silence, and for you all at home or on the go for listening, supporting, and being open to learning more about the difficult issues impacting our community. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to leave you with this. Financial abuse is designed to limit your options, create dependence, and make freedom feel impossible. If any of what you heard today felt familiar, please know that you are not alone. It is normal to feel frustrated, trapped, or unsure where to start. Healthy relationships should support autonomy, not restrict it. There are steps you can take, resources to turn to, and people ready to help you. Support is available here in our community. You can call our team at the Domestic Violence Center of Chester County's toll-free hotline anytime, day or night, including weekends and holidays, at 1-888-711-6270. This spring is a busy and exciting one at the Domestic Violence Center of Chester County. We have many events, trainings, and fundraisers happening all across Chester County. If you want to see the full lineup and register for some of these events, you can visit us at dvccpa.org/upcoming-events. Next month on Breaking the Silence, Chester County, Same Song, Different Tune, we will continue exploring the different ways that abuse shows up, focusing on abusers using levels of social privilege and status to gain power in relationships. We will also be listening to Mood Indigo. To end today's episode, here is Michael Bublé's dramatic take on our song of the day, here on WCHE.
Funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable, yet you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure less than green? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? But don't change your hair for me, not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine, stay. Each day is Valentine's Day. Is your figure less than green? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you so